I'm going to share with you in the next coming minute the killer of every loving relationship, the death knell of every relationship is this. And I want to show you how to overcome it and what things you have to have in place for you to be able to get rid of this heinous thing. And the death knell, if you don't know that term, it's a death signal for the death of every loving relationship is being and feeling taken for granted. Now, most people really misappreciate what that actually means. If you could change the words up, it'll make much more sense to you. To take something for granted is the same exact thing to take something as granted. To take for granted is completely synonymous with taking as granted. What does that mean and what does that look like? To take for granted, to take as granted, is for me to say, hey baby, I love you so much. You're the most incredible thing in the world, and I care for you and I adore you incredibly. I am going to grant myself to you exclusively in exchange for your granting yourself to me exclusively. Now, the inevitable result of your granting yourself to your partner and they're granting themselves to you is the same thing as saying, baby, you can take me as granted to you. And in exchange for my taking you as granted to me. When you take something as already granted, the inevitable result is that you take it for granted. To take something for granted is the death knell of every loving relationship. The opposite of taking something as granted is to say, hey baby, I love you so much. You're the most incredible thing in the world. I adore you, respect you, and you turn me on more than anything in the world. I want you to know that the only reason that we will ever be with each other and to get rid of the feeling of being and feeling taken for granted, the abuse that ensues from that, is that the only way we'll ever be with each other is because out of all of our options, we choose each other independently, freely, and ongoingly, persistently, because we merit each other's existence. We merit each other's being in the relationship. Out of all of your options, you choose me, and that delights me. There's actually no more gratifying feeling than your knowing, your appreciating, and their knowing that out of all of their options, they choose you. And my gratification that out of all my options, I choose her or him. So in order for that to occur, baby, you must have options. And you must appreciate that I have options because I do. And I must appreciate that you have options because I know demonstrably that you do. And that requires your having options. And so I have my first rule, which gets rid of being and feeling taken for granted. Remember always that if you don't get rid of being and feeling taken for granted, you will be abused. So let's say that you're probably saying, okay, fine, Rone. I love my partner so much that they can have anybody they want. They can sleep around. They can sleep with other people. But I'm going to grant myself to my partner. I'm not going to sleep with anybody else. I'm not going to see anybody else. I'm not going to have options, but they can have options if they'd like. Fine. The inevitable result of your not having options is your being and feeling taken for granted. The only way you can demonstrate for yourself and for your partner that out of all of your options, you choose them is if you have options. And so I'm very adamant about my first rule in my relationship. Now the rules about maturity and when you see other people, you got to have safe and healthy sexual intercourse. Those aren't really rules for my relationships, because I presume with anybody whom I interact, especially with my beloved, that they're mature enough and smart enough and intelligent enough to know that they care about me enough to ensure my sexual health. So I presume those to be true already. And I don't interact with anybody whom isn't mature enough to appreciate that. So my first rule is this: I will never be any woman's only male lover, especially with my beloved. I will never be any woman's only male sex partner. It doesn't mean she has to be going through the act of sleeping with other people. She doesn't have to. I'm not forcing her to. But she has to at least give other guys a chance whom she finds yummy and attractive and interesting and compelling. She must not grant herself as taken as granted to me. She must know, and I must know, that she has options. So, when I say this, I know exactly what's going through your mind, and you're saying, watching this, what if I'm not, and you're not saying it out loud, you're saying it to yourself, what if I'm not good enough to have options? See, the challenge for me relaying this message is that I'm not that bad looking. I'm pretty clean. I'm clean shaven. I dress okay. I have a pretty clean haircut. My skin is pretty okay. And so I'm not bad looking. And the challenge relaying this message is that you have to be good looking in order for you to have options. There are things about men and women that the opposite sex finds attractive, or the opposite polarity finds attractive, that oftentimes have much, much less to do about how they look, and much, much, much more to do with how they are as a person. For a man, you require a few things, and none of which has anything to do with looks. I have had incredible open relationships when I was 205 pounds, when I was obese. Women, you can have hundreds of men lining up to see you if you just keep yourself healthy. Don't let yourself go to pot at whatever age and stage you are in your life. And so, you must get rid of being and feeling taken as granted by forbidding yourself as being and feeling taken as granted. The first step is never give yourself granted. Baby, never take me as granted to you. The only reason we will ever be in a relationship with each other is because we merit the existence of the relationship. Meaning, out of all my options, I'm with you. And I must know that the only reason you're ever with me is because you have options and you're with me. I will not be abused. What do you think about this? Share it in the comments below. Click the like, click the thumbs up, and comment below. Let me know what you think, and share this with your followers, and subscribe to my channel. And I'll talk to you on the next video. Bye-bye.